Hello and welcome. You're through to Byte tutorial on how to attack capture point 2 on CP Granary. I'm going to try and keep this in a dynamic and adaptive way of teaching how to push capture point 2 and cap it successfully without losing a lot of your team members. By doing this, I'm going to show you one bad scenario and one good scenario of pushing capture point 2. I'm going to start off with the bad first, because I believe that if you start from a negative then to a positive, you learn it quicker and it sticks in your head more. So if we resume the demo at 8 minutes 33 on the clock, here you can see we've just pushed them on CP3, and obviously all the team have taken damage for that, but managed to stay alive, so end up healing coins here, and then Xerox comes in for heals as well, as he's weak, along with Pina. Here I've made the call that the soldiers should be pushing left, top left. Pinar's seen a scout there, so he goes round, deals with the scout. So here, if we get ready to pause at 8 minutes 2, right there you can see now, this is actually quite an optimum position. Pinar and coins are ubered up top, the soldier's on his own. Demo and the scout are trying to cap this. Now, for our demo man and scout to cap this point, they're going to need this uber to push them back. Push the enemy team back. Even if they've still got uber, if they still go behind them, for example, or still stay in front of them, they can't stop the point with ease, because there's two soldiers in the way, along with me and then Skinny, who's narrowly behind us up top. Now, what you're about to see is the soldiers sort of disorientated how they pushed with the uber. They were sort of fearing that they were going to go down, and in my view, they were going to go down anyway, but they might as well go down for something, because then the rest might be able to cap the point. You'll see Coins and Pinar tried to do a mistake here. Just remember, I know I've ubered early, but we still have the height advantage here, and technically we should have killed this soldier, but he got ubered, I believe, in time. So that was another mistake. But you'll see in shortly, in a minute, what happens to our scout and Dowerman. They don't die, but they get heavily injured and they can't continue capping. So if we resume at 8 minutes 2. Here we see Coins and Pinar still up top, one dropping down, trying to stay with me. But the Dowerman's still pushing the scout and Dowerman, so they can't cap here. So if we pause it here at 7 minutes 51, now the Dowerman's trying to hold his place, but unfortunately the scout's in because there wasn't enough pressure. And the soldier up top was not dealt with, even though I know he was ubered, but there's no one dealing with the soldier up top. Now, where the enemies are, the scout, the Dowerman, which was Skinny, you can see in the far left, he's trying to chase him, but he's fully buffed, the Dowerman. He's not going to be able to take him down. Not someone of that caliber like Extrema from Epsilon. And there's a soldier above, the enemy soldier, and there's a scout about to take down the demo. Pinar decides to focus on the scout to try and save Numnut, but he needed to help Skinny push them back so that because Xerox is still alive here. You'll see Numnut about to go down now. Following on from Xerox about to die, or being damaged by Extrema there. If we take a look at the screenshot, it should be in front of you now. I've drawn you a little diagram as what sort of should be happening in this bad case scenario, because the only disadvantage we have is the fact that we ubered 2 seconds earlier. It's literally about 2 seconds. Now, if I just start with the medic, that's me. I should have been on the point, healing the Numlocked and Xerox because they were weak because of the Dowerman pushing them back, as you can see in the distance, who's ubered in red. Unfortunately, I did not know that the soldiers would sort of allow them that much freedom, because if you take a look at the yellow arrows as to what I've done, there's actually one of our soldiers up top. He's actually still up top, and then we've got one soldier who's Coins at the moment on the floor. Now, as I've already mentioned, we already have a disadvantage in terms of the Uber running out quicker. So, you know, you've got to try and make some time. You've got to buy some time so that the Uber runs out, and then you can go and pounce again. Now, in this case, the best thing that the soldiers should have done was drop down, which is what they did, but then go back up again. Now, only one soldier stayed up top, and the other soldier dropped down, and he stayed on the floor, expecting to get help from his team. Unfortunately, he didn't calculate the fact that they still have Uber slightly longer, by 2 seconds. Obviously, the extra rocket and sticky or grenade will make him die sort of almost instantly. I've put an arrow, yellow arrow, bi-directional arrow, going up and down, times 2. That's basically for 2 soldiers. They should have dropped down. When I Ubered up top, they should have dropped down, made them Uber, go back up, drop back down. I link up on the capture point with Xerox and Numlocked as Demo Man and Scout, and then Skinny helps the soldiers push them back once the Ubers went out. Because technically at the moment, in terms of quantity, we have the players, we have the advantage. We have 2 soldiers, a Scout in front of me, and then we have 2 players on the capture point. They only have a Demo Man and a soldier and a Scout en route. But unfortunately, this is not what happens, and one of the soldiers stays on the floor, expecting to be able to take one of their soldiers down, or Demo Man down, or something. Now this is not what happens, because remember there is still a Scout about to come up from spawn up top onto our soldier, and then at the moment, as I mentioned before, so Extreme is pushing the Xerox and Numlocked back, so they can't actually do any more damage because they're so weak. One sticky might just kill them both or something. So the key thing that went wrong here was the soldiers' sort of gameplay and efficiency of how to deal with the fact that the enemy team had Uber slightly longer than we did. I've put a red dot around, sort of like it's like a bubble to say, this is the whole area. If we had 2 soldiers up top and then they drop down once the Uber ran out, because don't forget, even if that soldier who's Uber chases and rocket jumps up, he's got 2 soldiers to deal with, which would have been a really, really tall order to ask. And at the same time, if I was in the right position to heal Numlocked, we could have brought Numlocked in and helped Skinny, who's the Scout right in front of me with the yellow arrow pointing towards the medic and Demo Man. Numlocked could have helped Skinny kill the Demo at least. That's the main thing. As long as the Demo Man doesn't push Xerox back and kills him, then we'll capture point 2 quite easily. So if we take a look at screenshot 2, if you look what the Epsilon soldier has done, which is the clever and the right thing to do, is he's bought himself ground, i.e. he's above the player, and secondly, because remember the medic can't heal him anymore because he had to get out because Skinny's trying to chase. That's the Scout in the on the left-hand side of the red circle around him with an arrow pointing towards the left-hand side, the right-hand side entrance of going to capture point 1. Now, the soldier is in a really bad position now because he's just seen the Scout drop from top, kill coins, our other soldier, and now he's going after the Demo Man, and the Demo Man will be deceased, as he will die. That's why I put the icon there. But don't forget, the key thing out of all this is the fact that the soldier's above everyone here, and he's fully buffed, as you can see. Well, you can't really see it clearly, but he's got the glowing plus signs over him, so he's still above 200 HP. Another mistake is that Skinny was under the understanding that he could push them back because his soldiers should be able to push them back with him, but one of his soldiers died, and Peanut decided to focus on the Scout to save Numlocked. Now, that Scout would have never got into that position if our soldiers were both up top. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, despite the fact that we had a sort of a disadvantage with the Uber timing, you need to make time, and the only way to make time is to buy yourself time. To buy yourself time in this case is because they were on the floor, you go up top, because by the time they get up top, whatever is chasing you, it's going to A, run out of Uber, and B, he's going to be on his own against 2 people in this case, which is 2 soldiers. And then once they stayed up top and the Uber had run out, they could drop back down, kill Demo Man, kill the soldier, and Skinny would have chased the medic, and that would have been 3 down, and I could have kept Numlocked alive. But as it stands at the moment, Coins died, so Peanut's on his own at the moment. There's a soldier above him, and Skinny's gone to attack. Now, in the best case scenario, what has to happen now? So what do you do now? Obviously, you've done the mistake, but you're going to have to try and recover, because Numlocked's about to go down. So if you ignore that Scout that's chasing Numlocked, the circle around the enemy Scout on the one that's chasing Numlocked is crossed off, is to signify that Peanut should not be really going for him. He should be focusing in front to where Skinny is pushing Demo Man, for example, because Skinny could have done a couple of meat shots on the Demo Man and he's weak, and all it would require was 1 rocket. The problem is again the soldier up top. But now we're at the disadvantage. We were in an advantage, but now we're at a disadvantage because Coins went down and he stayed on the floor and did not go back up top and then drop down again, because then I could have kept him alive, maybe healed him along with Peanut spamming 1 rocket each or 2 rockets each. But that's not the case. So now Skinny, when we go back to the demo of this, Skinny will go down. Peanut will try and save Numlocked from the Scout, but he ends up killing him. And then he's outnumbered because it's just me and Peanut against 5 of Epsilon players, because the Dowerman doesn't go down, the medic doesn't go down, the soldier doesn't go down, the scout doesn't go down, and the other soldier doesn't go down. So if we continue at 7:51 here, see what's gone wrong, and then Pina tried to save the scout on Numlocked, but he goes down. There's already a scout behind, the one that killed Numlocked originally, and he kills Pina along with Sniers, and now I'm left on my own, and it's 6 versus 1. So yes, that's how you fail pushing a capture point 2 on Granary. All because the soldiers couldn't adapt in this situation to the fact that I had Ubered slightly earlier, even though they were a player down, remember. So the advantage wasn't much for them having an Uber earlier. We just needed to buy some time, and that wasn't the case, unfortunately. So the moral of that that clip, along with the screenshot, is when you push. And if you want your team to cap at the same time, the combo has got to commit and push their combo back. Because if you do that, then their combo, the enemy's combo, cannot push your players that are capping the capture point back, because basically there's 2 soldiers in the way, or there's a soldier and 2 scouts in the way in this case. Because they can't focus on all 6 players, or all 5 players, or 6 players, whatever you want to call it, including me. They're going to have to focus on something, and if the soldiers are pushing the Dowerman, the soldier, and the medic back once the Ubers run out, which is only a second and a half away, then there's no way they can stop the Dowerman and Xerox, who, remember, they've still got a health bar they can pick up, who can cap. Right? So, this is where the mistake was. The soldiers were in fear of the fact that they had an Uber advantage, and didn't use their brain to think, well, I need to buy some time so the Uber runs out, and then we go back in. We can't let our players on the capture point go down. We have to push them back, and that's where the combo should have gone in, pushed them back, gone all out. I might have died, the 2 soldiers might have died, but I'm pretty sure they would have killed at least 2 players, if not maybe the medic as well. Because don't forget, Numlocked and Xerox and Skinny could have easily done some damage and killed enough. That would have been 3 of them down, 3 of us up. Would have been, say for example, I died, but their medic died, but at least we got the capture point. The capture point wins, remember, the round, not kills. Okay, so they lost too many. In the theory, that they would have lost too many, and they couldn't have pushed and regained it back. So the moral of the story is, when you're going to push, get your scouts prepared. As long as they're on decent health, get your combo in, push them back. Try and push them back as much as you can, while the scout, or a scout and a soldier, try and capture point 2. Because don't forget, capture point 2 captures really quickly. So you've got to take advantage of that, and to do that, they can't do that without the combo pushing their combo back. Moral of the story is basically that. Following on from that ending of the demo there, I thought I would provide you with a screenshot of what should have happened in that bad sort of scenario that you just saw. If you look at the screenshot that I've provided, it's the final one for this bad attack on capture point 2. I've come up with what should have actually happened for you to, if you were in this position for you to win, and at least kill their combo, and if not cap the point and maybe cap last. Here there's massive difference as to what happened, in the demo compared to what I'm showing you here. We Ubered from up top, as you know, and saw in the demo. I should have dropped down and moved to the capture point, which is where I'm standing at the moment, as you can see. Now that makes a huge difference, because as you can see now, with the green lines, you can see I'm healing the Dowerman now. Numlocked, who remember was weak, as mentioned previously, and Xerox, who was weak, because they were both, Xerox and Numlocked, were getting some pressure off Extremer, the enemy's Dowerman, and they were very weak, so they couldn't continue capping. But if I had switched while I was Ubered to the capture point, I could have started healing them, and then they could have stayed alive much longer, and maybe capped, and if not put pressure. Now at the same time, as explained before, the soldiers should have stayed up top until the Uber ran out, because there's just too much for them to focus on. There's only 3 of them technically at the moment. There is a scout incoming soon, within the next 5 seconds, but that won't make a difference if you get rid of the combo in time. Now if you left the 2 soldiers up top, it means that soldier's on his own. He's going to have to come up with something great to kill both, or he's going to have to try and kill one, and then the other soldier will kill him along with Skinny, helping our soldier. That's the scout in the middle, past the capture point. So if you look at the position now, we've got 2 soldiers above, so we've got the height advantage. and we've also got the advantage of trying to buy some time because they've still got Uber slightly by about a second and a half. Then you've got, I'm in the range of able to heal the 2 scouts and the Doorman, especially the 2 that were very weak, so that keeps them alive, which means we've got a high chance of holding this because there's more people still alive. And they've only got 3 up, and as you can see, if you just look at all the yellow arrows, you can see that there's 5, which is obviously the maximum, maybe 6 if you included me with my needles, but 5 can easily focus all on that combo, and no matter if they had Uber for a second longer, if you gave it another 2 seconds, they would get absolutely demolished with stickies, rockets, dual rockets that is, and shotgun meat shots. So yeah, as you can see, this is what should have happened when we went up top, and you know, this is I think this would have been the optimum or the best we could have done for Ubering early to try and win this area, this capture point. So try and take advantage and adapt to what you see in the you know, in the area. I mean, when I Ubered out up top, I saw that the Doorman was getting some heat and the scout, and really ideally I should have switched across to the capture point, but then again I wouldn't have this this example to give you if I didn't do that. So it's a good example just to show you how to adapt to certain scenarios that's occurring. That is currently it for the bad attack on capture point 2 on CP Granary, as promised. So following up from that described bad attack on capture point 2 on CP Granary, I'm now going to show you a good attack on capture point 2 on CP Granary. Just before I play the demo, just want to give you a sort of a brief overview or sort of a brief template as to what sort of the classes and arrangement of classes should be around this area. Usually, as this map is dictated by size, you've got a left side, you know, left yard, right yard, left side, garage, ramp room, and so on and so forth. Usually you have 2 scouts on the left hand side with a roaming soldier, hopefully all fully buffed as well, you know, and then you've got your combo, which is your pocket slash roamer with your Doorman, and obviously the medic healing them. So now if I resume at 9:34, you can see but one of the soldiers is very weak. I'm telling the other soldiers to go on the left hand side to help the scouts, which he does so now. If you can see if I pause it at 9:25, just before we go in with this Uber, I'm just telling my team at this current moment in time on the comms that we're ready to push. I've got the Uber advantage, because at the moment I have a slight Uber advantage here over the enemy medic, i.e. he doesn't have it. So we need to take advantage of that. And to do that, I'm going to have to hopefully, I mean I didn't want to use this Uber, but if you look above the capture point very, very closely, you can see there's some stickies above the red sign on the above the capture point. Now I didn't actually spot that at the time. You'll see why in a minute when I continue this demo. But the Doorman, our Doorman, notices the stickies at a very sort of a late notice, and he was literally underneath them, so I had to Uber early. Now thankfully, you'll see when we play this through, this does not affect our push, and it comes out successfully. So this stage, to summarise, we're ready, buffing up the soldier, about to go, push with this Uber. The others need to stay alive. I've told them to stay alive. Just stay alive temporarily while we push the enemies back, because obviously they've got an Uber to deal with in front of them. Then the scouts, 2 scouts or a soldier and a scout, can start capping capture point 2, while the enemies are busy focusing on the driving force, which is the Uber Doorman and soldier. Okay, so if we resume now at 9:25. We see now we're going in, and there's the late call on the stickies. I had to Uber early. So if we pause it at 9:18, here you can see the soldiers rocket jumped up top, and the Doorman's just really on the left of me at the moment, pushing the the enemy combo back, because when we were pushing, as you saw, we saw the enemies was on the left hand side of the door, left hand door on CP1. So he's done the right thing here. As you'll see in a minute, the Doorman's immediately trying to secure that area, cut them off so they can't come back in without having to go round, and by the time they've gone round we would have captured the point. Now if you look at the same time, the capture point is actually being capped already by a scout, because he knows that the driving force, which is the Uber soldier and the Doorman, is going to literally push the enemies back because they haven't got Uber yet. To give you a summary of what was seen as we were pushing onto the capture point, as I already described to you previously about a minute ago, the Doorman is on my left hand side, but before we actually pushed to that situation I said that the Doorman needs to be covering the left hand side entrance because that's where the combo is. Now here I've highlighted for you the black area near that, and that's the total area that the Doorman needs to push the enemy team back, the combo at least. That's the medic, this demo, and there's actually a soldier there but you can't see him because of the pillars in the way. I've also marked out stickies above the capture point as it was a late call. This is why you saw me uber early. There's also the soldier who's on the right of me here in this screenshot, and he goes up top as mentioned previously as well. But the main thing I'm trying to pass across to you here is the fact that when we were pushing in, we sort of analysed what was in front of us and needed to focus on where the combo was, where their driving force was, and we needed to neutralise, or if not kill, their driving force. And because we have the Uber advantage, remember, so I didn't want my demo to die, and he was going to die with the stickies detonating on him. Sorry. So I had to Uber, and then he did the right thing here. As you'll see shortly when we resume the demo, into pushing them back. So if we continue the demo at 9 minutes 18, you can see the downman still pushing them back, which is the right thing to do. He might go down here, but he's trying to get the downman, which is pretty key, and he gets him down. He goes down, but he's killed enough and secured the area and territory. We've capped capture point 2. And then the soldier that went up top and did a lot of damage, killed the medic along with damaging the soldier. And here you can see the rest of the classes push up and start capping the last capture point. So, in conclusion, what you just saw then was a grade A textbook sort of attack. I know in this case we had the Uber advantage. They almost had it, to be fair, but they didn't quite have it. You know, whereas in the bad scenario we both had Uber each. But the sort of the fundamental difference was, or sort of the idea to take away with you, is the fact that the soldier and the Doorman did the correct thing in that scenario, which is the Doorman was Ubered, he had to secure the area so the rest could cap, i.e. the 2 scouts and the soldier. As you just saw, he just pushed the Doorman, the medic and the soldier back, and he didn't just stop there. He thought, because the Uber's still going, he'd chase the Doorman and kill him, and that's what he did. And that's a crucial kill, taking down the Doorman. And at the same time, the soldier went up top to try and flank, which is what he's done, and as you saw in that demo as well, the soldier drops down onto the left hand side, kills the medic, and then gets some damage on the soldier and dies. And I linked up with him and healed him, and then we pushed to last. While that's all happening, even though it's only 3 players used, we've still got 3 other players to use, and they already were capping, and then once they've capped, they started pushing from the bottom right hand side. Now if you've noticed, that's 3 exits covered. If you think about it, the Doorman went left, the soldier went top, and the scouts went right hand side. So that's all the exits covered in terms of pushing. Assuming that nothing went behind, or something that did go behind or that was dealt with, then they're good to go to attack, because they already had lost a Doorman, at least another scout, which you didn't get to see. So in this case, sort of the summary of what you should be doing is, you should be gathering your scouts, make sure they're buffed first before you go in, because if they're not buffed, the one shot may kill them, which is pretty costly because they do ×2 on the capture point. But yeah, you need to keep them, you need to give them a buff, tell your scouts come here for a buff, so you're on the right hand side, they're on the left, they come to you halfway, meet halfway, heal them, let them go back to the left hand side, heal your Roman soldiers with the scouts so they can start slowly and gradually pushing but not dying. That's the important thing. They cannot afford to die, because if they die, then your combo is literally useless. That Uber is useless now. It's going to be used just to save themselves, not to advance and cap the point. So it's really important that both parts of the team play as a team. Basically, it's called Team Fortress, so you need to play as a team. The left-hand side crew, which is 2 scouts and a soldier, need to pick off maybe 1 or 2, maybe just a scout, whatever, and then gradually just get onto the point, or go behind. One of them goes behind, the rest get on the point. So 2 scouts on the point, 1 soldier goes up top, covers the flank, while the enemy the combo, your team combo, which is the demo, the soldier, and the medic, who've just Ubered, goes in, pushes them back. In this case, they were bottom left-hand side. Huey was there. The demo man was there, and pushed them back. He decided to go after and chase the demo, which was a smart thing to do because he was still Ubered. It took him down, and which basically bought the capture point 4 or capture point 2 for the team, and at the same time with the Uber they actually killed enough people to go and attack capture point 1, and that's why we capped as well, sort of chain capped capture point 2 and 1. Now a lot of you might be asking, well, what do you do if they've got Uber and you've got Uber and they're on the right hand side and you're about to push with the Uber, and obviously I've Ubered early? Well, again, this goes back to the bad case scenario of what you should be doing with your heavies, and then linking up with your scout / demo. Ideally, what should happen is you've got the soldier, the roaming soldier on the left-hand side. He's going up top, right, going round the flank, as it were, round the back on the right, on the left-hand side, going up to the top, getting the health pack, and then above them. And at the same time, once I've Ubered, that soldier that's with me needs to go up top again. Because then we've got the perfect scenario again. We've got 2 soldiers up top, and whatever's on the floor. So say it's a scout, Uber, he can't really do much. If it's a demo, he can't actually jump up. Well, he can, but it's going to be very, very risky for him because obviously he's got less health, and also at the same time he's not going to be Ubered. And if a demo man goes down on capture point 2, it's quite costly. So what's left? It's just the soldiers. So the soldiers are going to be buffed. One of them's going to be fully buffed. One of them's going to be on 200 or just under. So it's going to be quite difficult for that soldier or whatever else wants to try and take those 2 soldiers on to take them down, basically. And at the same time, the important thing is that your scouts link up with you onto the capture point while the soldiers are busy sort of creating a detour. So I promise this is the last screenshot. If you just take this final screenshot of what you would do if you're pushing to the right hand side. Let me just go through all the arrows. I've got if you start from the right hand side, the soldier that was with me pushing from the right hand side and gone on the cap point was Ubered, so we can get up top. As you can see the arrows, he's gone, first arrow goes onto the capture point, and the next arrow connected to it goes up top, and as you can see the soldiers up top. That gives him prime position as he has the height advantage and at least well over 200 health to attack the enemies once their Uber has run out. At the same time, remember on the left hand side you had the roaming soldier with the 2 scouts. I said that he would have gone up top, got the health pack, and then met the other soldier up top. So again, if you've noticed, you've got 2 soldiers in a primary good position, as mentioned before in a previous screenshot in the bad attack on capture point 2. If you remember, there was 2 soldiers up top, and again we have here 2 soldiers up top. Now this is fine, this could work. I'm not saying this will work all the time, but the majority of times it works. But as long as your scouts, or at least you have 1 scout and a demo with you to drop back with / cap the point, that's the main thing. So remember, you've got the 2 scouts on the left, 1 goes through the Z section, and 1 goes through round into the garage and then round, and either goes for the attack, and that's why I've put 1 scout with 2 arrows. 1 either goes for the enemies or comes and caps quickly. At the same time, that man shouldn't be going up top. He shouldn't be trying to sort of go out of area. He needs to stay with me, but at the same time push the enemies back, and that's why I put an arrow from the demo man to the enemy's block there on the the black box. Obviously, you're probably thinking, well, they've still got the Uber advantage. Yes, it will be slightly, they will have a slight Uber advantage. I'd say about 2 seconds roughly on average. But don't forget, they've still got 2 soldiers to deal with up front. So what you should be doing in this case is make them Uber as soon as possible. Make sure you get your soldier Ubered up top so he can go up top. At the same time, the soldiers need to wait patiently until the Ubers run out. 1 can go behind through to the CP1 and go around the back on their right hand side to flank the enemies, while the other soldier stays up top. But once that Ubers run out, at the same time they're going to be chasing myself, the medic, the demo, the scouts, or the scouts. So I've got to be able to Uber the demo and the scout, make sure they get out in time. I'd say out of the cap point area at least, but if not, then outside into the yard. But then the soldiers will have to call. This is really important. The soldiers have to call push. If they say push, then you've got to get back in, because if the soldiers are already pushing, that means everyone on the enemy team is focusing on those two soldiers. But at the same time, once you've listened to that call of the push, you need to push with your down man and scout back in, and then obviously wipe out. It's sort of a give and take. You go in. You go up in terms of the soldiers. You go in, and then the down man makes the mover as soon as possible. You get out. The soldiers act as a sort of as a deterrent in their way. They're thinking, oh wait a minute, we can't push because there's two soldiers behind us up top. What are we going to do? So you get out with your down man and scout. Then your down man goes back in as a driving force, pushes the enemy team back with stickies, pushing them back. Remember, there's a soldier behind them about to flank, so the medic and the soldier might go down, or a demo man might go down here. And at the same time, we've got at least one scout capping while that's all happening. So this is what you should be doing in sort of the scenario where you've got Uber versus Uber. I just thought I'd show you a screenshot of that. And that concludes how to attack Capture Point 2 Granary. Any questions, feel free to submit a comment or send me a message on mygamingedge.com forums. Thank you.